What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Islam Makhachev fires back, guarantees Volkanovski will panic during grappling exchanges. The back and forth exchanges are heating up between lightweight champion Islam Makhachev and pound-for-pound kingpin Alexander Volkanovski ahead of their February clash in Perth. With UFC 284 rapidly approaching in the new year, focus is beginning to shift more and more to the impending clash of champions. During a recent interview, Volkanovski spoke about his preparation for the fight, explaining that he's been going extra hard in training camp so that he remains calm, cool, and collected during grappling exchanges. The way Makhachev sees things, no amount of training can prepare the featherweight kingpin for the experience of grappling with him. He took to Twitter to reveal that it'll take just 15 helpless seconds for Volkanovski to realize he's in trouble. The tweet immediately spread like wildfire online, as fans were quick to debate the fight. Currently, Makhachev is the betting favorite. However, given the fact that Volkanovski used to weigh upwards of 200 pounds during his rugby days, there's a lot of unknowns going into his clash with Makhachev. Given that he won't have to cut the extra 10 pounds to get to featherweight, he could come out looking even more dominant than he does at 145 pounds. In fact, lightweight contender Michael Chandler stated recently that he wouldn't be entirely surprised to see Volkanovski edge out a decision win. At the same time, however, Makhachev managed to make light work of Charles Oliveira when he put an end to Do Bronx's 11-fight win streak earlier this year. With how dominant he looked against Oliveira in that fight, many believe the upcoming scrap with Volkanovski will be all that and more. How do you see things playing out? Will Makhachev's prediction hold true? Or will the pound-for-pound king tack the title of champ onto his resume? Give us your predictions in the comment section below. New footage and audio emerged from aftermath of alleged Jorge Masvidal assault on Colby Covington. Earlier this year, shocking news emerged that Jorge Masvidal had allegedly sucker punched Colby Covington outside of a steakhouse in Miami. The situation resulted in the BMF being arrested and his fighting career being put on hold while he dealt with legal battles as a result of the incident. This week, nearly 9 months to the day of the alleged assault, footage emerged of Masvidal in police custody after his arrest. In addition, audio emerged of Covington's conversation with the police where he explains that he, Bob Menery, and Kyle Forgeard from the Nelk Boys were taking pictures and signing autographs for fans outside of a steakhouse when he was allegedly jumped by Masvidal.
I get sideswiped from the side, like I get punched in the mouth real quick and kind of get dizzed up. I look up and I see who it is. I can see in his eyes it's Jorge Masvidal. I can see his hair coming out of his hoodie, but he has a face mask on, a surgical face mask. But he's saying, "You shouldn't have talked about my kids. You shouldn't have talked about my kids."
In addition, Covington also explained that he feared for his safety and suffered a damaged tooth as a result of the blows. On the flip side of things, footage emerged of Masvidal in handcuffs after the alleged altercation. At first, he can be seen sitting down to discuss the situation with officers before then being handcuffed in the back of a police car for transport. The whole situation resulted in Masvidal being unable to accept a fight with Gilbert Burns. As he revealed in a video on Instagram, he wasn't able to accept a fight at the end of this year as a result of the court case. With his troubles now behind him, Masvidal is now eligible to fight once again. In addition, Colby Covington is reportedly healed up from the injuries he sustained. As a result, it seems like only a matter of time before both men return to the octagon. When they do, who do you want to see them both square off against? Daniel Cormier offers Sean O'Malley advice regarding waiting for title shot. Bantamweight #1 contender Sean O'Malley currently finds himself stuck between a rock and a hard place in regards to his future. On one hand, Sugar Sean is poised for a title shot after edging out a controversial decision win over Peter Yan at UFC 280. On the other hand, with Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo reportedly matched up for 2023, O'Malley is the odd man out at 135 pounds. Although both sides have verbally agreed to the fight, there's been no official announcement from the UFC, and no indications of when the fight will take place. As a result, O'Malley's choices are to either sit and wait for the two men to fight it out so he can have his crack at the winner, or take a fight in the meantime to stay fresh and cement his place as #1 contender. Right now, it sounds like he's leaning towards waiting for his shot, but on the other hand, he doesn't seem entirely sure. Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier spoke about the situation in a video released on his YouTube channel, saying,
"But there's only one name that I would steer clear of if I'm Sean O'Malley, and that's Merab Dvalishvili. Because I believe that Merab and his pressure fighting style could present some matchup problems for O'Malley. Am I saying no, he can't win? Not at all. But I'm saying because of the wrestling, the pressure, you don't want to be stuck in there with Merab. The dude's a savage."
With the rest of the bantamweight division's top 5 matched up, aside from Dvalishvili and Peter Yan, it seems Sugar Sean's choices will be either to sit out or fight the streaking Georgian fighter. What do you think he should do? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Conor McGregor weighs in on Adesanya-Pereira rivalry. The long-standing rivalry between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira is something straight out of a movie. After losing to Pereira in their first fight, Adesanya seemed to be finding his rhythm in the second fight. In the third round, however, Pereira's left hook found the mark and put Adesanya to sleep. After that, the two went their separate ways. Adesanya joined the UFC the following year and went on an absolute tear, winning the UFC middleweight championship and going on an impressive run over the next 5 years. That is, until Pereira earned a crack at the title, and the pair clashed once more, this time under MMA rules for the UFC title. Much like the last time they fought, Adesanya was looking good throughout the fight until he was ultimately finished by Pereira. With a rematch between these two likely on tap for next year, everyone in the fight community is eager to see if Adesanya can win back the UFC belt and finally defeat his longtime rival. Conor McGregor weighed in on the fight and some recent sparring footage of Pereira's on Twitter, calling the former two-division Glory kickboxing champion a really solid fighter while expressing his excitement for a rematch. The way he sees things, with how close Izzy has gotten to winning in the past, it'll be interesting to see if he's finally able to capture the elusive victory. McGregor also included in his tweet that he believes if the fight between the two at UFC 281 was a no time limit fight, Adesanya would still be champion. With a rematch between the two likely inevitable for the new year, do you think Adesanya will be able to reclaim his status as middleweight champion, or is Pereira simply too much for him? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. Three fights booked for first quarter of 2023, including huge bantamweight clash. With the UFC officially done hosting events for the rest of the year, fight fans are eagerly looking towards 2023 and the slew of fights to come. The excitement continued to build this week as 3 fights were announced on Twitter for the first quarter of the new year. First up, we have a showdown between Priscilla Cachoeira and Sijara Eubanks for UFC Vegas 67 on January 14th. The fight will see Cachoeira look to pick up her 3rd straight win after going 2-0 this year. On the flip side of things, Eubanks is looking to return from a year-long hiatus that last saw her TKO'd by Melissa Gatto back in late 2021. Next up, we have a huge bantamweight clash between Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Chito Vera, booked as the headliner for a fight night card at the UFC Apex on February 18th. Sandhagen will be looking to build on the momentum from his TKO win over Song Yadong back in September, while Vera will be looking to continue his dominant 4-fight win streak that recently saw him knock out Dominic Cruz with a brutal head kick. Last, but certainly not least, we have a showdown between Alex Perez and Manel Kape, booked for UFC San Antonio on March 25th. The fight will pit Perez, a former title challenger, against Kape, who has been on a tear as of late, winning 3 straight bouts. Kape, ranked 9th in the flyweight division, will look to secure the biggest win of his career against the number 6 ranked Perez, who was knocked out by Alexander Pantoja this past summer after a nearly 2-year-long layoff. With the new year rapidly approaching, how do you see these 3 fights playing out? Give us your predictions in the comment section below. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.